Welcome back to it. It is a Tuesday morning. We are still on such a hype after yesterday's tour that you were not there.
Oh,
but it's okay.
wow.
I'm going to throw it in your face the entire day.
Share the feeling. Just share the feeling, okay?
So funny you say sharing, because we are talking about sharing. Now, there are many frustrating moments along the parenting journey, and one of those moments can be teaching a child to share. So to tell us why sharing is a difficult concept for children to grasp and why the principle of sharing is important is registered counsellor Shenaaz Moos. Hello, Shenaaz. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Sharing is definitely caring, right?
Yeah, I've heard that, you know, that goes around a lot. It's like one of those things that we don't really understand. And I think that for us, a lot of our sharing issues sometimes relate back to when we were kids and we were forced to share. You know, if you remember, I've got 4 siblings.
Oh, wow, yeah, that must have been particularly difficult.
And you're in the middle, so your younger siblings automatically, by default, you must share with.
Okay.
So that's how my child, I don't know about you guys. So I've got my own view on sharing, but I mean, we're here to talk about the bigger picture of sharing.
I prefer to see the better side of him, that he's taking the first steps into sharing. So let's first start by understanding why it is so difficult for children to understand why the concept of sharing is so important.
Yeah, I think that we want kids to start sharing immediately. Not understanding from a developmental point of view that kids under a certain age cannot share. I mean, like 2-year-olds, everything's theirs. What are the first 2 words? No and mine. Aren't those the first 2 things they want to say? Mine, mine, mine. So they cannot share, and we want to explain to them about how it's not nice and we're wasting our breath.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Because they cannot cognitively comprehend this story we are feeding them.
Yes.
About sharing and what it means. And a lot of the times, I think we are quite triggered when our kids don't want to share with others.
Yeah, because it almost signals your lack of parenting skills, especially when you find yourself in a social environment and your little one holds on to a toy that doesn't belong to them and doesn't want to give it back, or perhaps they just don't want to share at all.
Yeah, but the thing is, like I said, they do not know how to share. It's only like from about age 7 and onwards that kids are able to and want to share. So we are asking them at like 4 or 5 to be generous and kind, because there's a lot of words that go with sharing: generosity, kindness, charity. So as a parent, we're in anxiety mode. We see a child almost like Ebenezer Scrooge one day, not sharing, all because he doesn't want to give his truck over to a little one.
Yeah, get ready for the rough times, Mama.
So we're jumping way into the future instead of staying in the present moment. That says it's hard. If someone came and grabbed your new iPhone from you and said, give it to Jamie, would you start pouting?
Probably sulking, just like...
Yes, so we do it all the time. How often do we go up to a child and grab a desired item that another child has been nagging for? So we are actually not reinforcing sharing. We are reinforcing whoever cries the longest and upsets the parent the most wins. Because parent goes over to child X, grabs it, gives it to child Y. So we are not teaching the right behavior. We're teaching power dynamics here.
Sure.
So interesting you were saying about later. So how does this impact them in the later life, you know? It's nice now we're saying, let's take it off, but what impact does sharing have for them in the later part of their life?
You know, I think that different cultures have different views on sharing. You get like communal living and those types of things. So it's also culturally specific. But I think that the idea of sharing exists almost in every sphere of life, that we want society to be one where we can give those who have, give those who do not have. That's also underpinned in our religions as well. So this whole thing, it doesn't work the way you think it's going to work, the way we are teaching sharing. And a lot about what we do as parents teaches sharing. So, I mean, I'm sometimes not the best example, but I want to give you an idea of the things that I do that don't always show sharing. I like specific types of things, but I don't want to share them, so I buy other things for my kids. And then I indicate this particular biscuit or this whatever is mommy's favorite. Can you know? And it's not always the best role model, because that's the main thing, the role modeling of sharing. So recently I've come to understand that I have to be more giving of the things I like.
Sure.
Instead of buying separate things, thinking, hey, good mommy, everyone gets something nice. No, if I take from what I like and my secret stash and give it, I'm actually teaching more sharing in that way. than me just, you know. And I mean, the thing is, if we have more, doesn't mean we have a sharing culture. If we have more in our house, it doesn't mean our kids are going to be programmed to share.
Yeah.
There'll just be more things to fight over.
Wow. All right. Well, some sage words there from Shenaaz, and we'll continue our conversation on the other side when we continue to learn how to share. And perhaps this is something that we need to review within ourselves, and understanding that we actually, as parents, don't share as much as we should in order to teach our children to do so. So let us know what your questions are, and send them through to us in the comment section of our Expresso Morning Show SABC3 Facebook page.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. This is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso on SABC3. Earlier on the show, registered counsellor Shenaaz Moos shared some tips with us as parents, and hopefully with you as well at home, about teaching your child how to share more. And we're continuing that conversation right now. We'd love to hear from you as well. Link up with us on Expresso Morning Show SABC3 on Facebook, and share your thoughts with us on this topic. I was speaking to a friend of mine yesterday, about the importance of realizing that everyone has a spot in the sunlight, you know what I mean? So when it comes to your own personal ambitious pursuits, that you don't necessarily have to trod over anyone in order to attain those. And when we were having that conversation initially earlier on, I was thinking maybe that the foundation of that is in sharing. It is such an important aspect of human life and human culture.
Yeah, but the way we teach it, or the way we model it, is horrific, actually. And one of the things that I discovered as I was reading up was that taking turns. You know, children don't understand the concept of sharing. All they know is you take something away that they really want. You give something to another child that they're still busy playing with. They don't understand. So when you say taking turns, you understand, I will have a turn again, that my turn will come back again. But the strange thing is, and I had to wrap my head around this one, was that they say that a child decides how long a turn is. Now, you with little ones, now help me understand. Can a turn be a day? Yes. Can a turn be 2 days?
Wow. So the concept of time to them is completely lost.
So what they said was that when you let the child decide when the turn is up, they learn more. So it's got to do, and the child waiting. So here's the hard part. What happens to the child who's waiting? And the child who waits gets the consolation prize, which is your attention. So child who has the toy, play as long as you want, but the one crying and sobbing, I want the truck, I want the doll, I want the whatever, you go over and you console that child. So you emotionally connect and you meet the needs. And you find often when children throw tantrums and are upset over an item that they've never played with for months, only when another child desires that toy do they start crying. Does that make any sense?
Children, why do you do this to us?
But now, so what tips can we, use as parents to, just change or just influence the way of sharing, because you're saying taking and giving, but what tips do you have for us to help us with the sharing?
Well, the first one would be the modelling. The modelling of the sharing myself.
Yes.
Me, the parent, both parents, other adults around the kids. So imagine if I walk in with a box of macaroons and I say, it's all mine, nobody can have. What am I saying? You're not special enough to have of this? I'm saying to the other adults now, not the kids. They don't need the sugar. I'm talking about the other adults. So it's that, man. The small things, the nuances we do daily without a clue how we model it. So awareness of self and how I am around sharing. I mean, I'm like protective. My technology lasts a long time because I'm like mine. I can't, and it's because of the cost versus it's for work, and so I'm self-awareness, yes, but also I must be cautious. But I shouldn't be that way about anything else. So it's just certain things. So that's the one thing, the modelling, and the second thing would be that we want children to learn to give of their own. And that is the hard part because they don't have that impulse yet. It doesn't come at a young age. So our knowledge of what our child can do at certain ages is quite vital to what I enforce in terms of sharing. So upskilling yourself a bit in knowledge that, okay, you can't share. So if you have 2 kids in your house, one is 6 and one is 3, different ways they will be able to comprehend this taking turns and sharing.
Yeah.
I can't expect the same thing from both kids. Yet we blanket parent, that's what I call it. We just take this one thing for all ages and we just say, there we go, I've parented you today. Not realizing it must be age-specific, temperament-specific as well. They did a research study that found that younger children are the ones who don't like to share. So it's interesting because you got everything when you're the youngest one. Everything gets given to you.
And maybe perhaps that is the problem.
And that is it, that you learn that you get your way. And that is not a sharing kind of mindset.
Yeah, Shenaaz, thank you very much. Great tips. One thing that we are doing at home is that he really enjoys popcorn. And so when he has his popcorn on the table and he's eating it, sometimes you ask him to feed you some of his popcorn, and then he does so willingly. And that's a way in which we're getting around the sharing thing. But please do share your thoughts on how you are helping your little ones at home, especially at that young age, to learn how to share, because it is such an important human quality to have later on in life. Thanks, Shenaaz, much appreciated. Check out happyconfidentme.co.za.